Hi guys and welcome back to IGCSE Success. Now in today's mini lesson I'm going to be taking you through what it means to analyse language, what you guys can be doing to help develop your analytical skills, and lastly I'll be going through 3 short extracts focusing on the writer's intentions and the type of comments that you should be making to secure a top mark for questions such as the writer's effect question from the first language English paper. And of course, if that sounds interesting to you, be sure to stick around for the whole video, and as always leave your feedback below. And without further ado, let's get on with today's video. Okay guys, so welcome to today's mini lesson. I guess the first question I want to address is the why, and it's a battle that I have every single year. You know, why do we have to analyze language? What is the point? And if I'm being honest, I often find myself wanting to say, well, what's the point of algebra? What's the point of learning the periodic table? What's the point of learning the 3 different kinds of rocks, which I cannot remember for the life of me? I mean, analysing language, identifying the writer's purpose, commenting on a writer's use of words, phrases, images, techniques, etc. It's been a core skill, as long as I can remember, a very, very long time. But it's so much more than a core skill, which is why I often refrain from having such discussions. Analysing language effectively, it really is a tough skill. It really is not necessarily something you can learn in a couple of months, which is why when I get questions about the writer's effect question specifically, there really is no magic wand. There's no silver bullet that's going to propel you to the finishing line. It really is a skill that you need to strengthen and hone throughout your years at high school. You know, when you analyse, you start to tap into those higher order thinking skills, and this is why language analysis is so important for English and for your other subjects as well. So I won't drone on too much here because I think I've pretty much covered what is meant by language analysis. However, just in case, language analysis very much refers to commenting on the writer's use of language, thinking carefully about their intentions, and ultimately being able to understand how a writer conveys meaning through how they craft their writing. And just remember, when we read, we form opinions, we get scared, we get excited, we cry sometimes, and we are often taken on this journey, and this is achieved through the language, and that's why it's such a powerful thing. And again, I've kind of touched on the how to develop your language analysis skills, but as mentioned, unfortunately, I don't think there's a magic wand out there to speed up the process. It's a skill you need to develop throughout your 5 years at high school. Reading, of course, will help immeasurably. There's a reason why your teachers are on your case all the time. Read a wealth of fiction, non-fiction, whatever you can read, anything with little printed black letters on. It's really going to help you. You do not need to be the most voracious reader out there, but it will certainly help you strengthen those core reading skills assessed at IGCSE. I cannot stress that enough. And to all those kind of jaded readers out there, I still believe that there is a book out there waiting for you. So find a book that you love, find a series that you love, a genre that you love, and get stuck into it. Get taken on that journey, and it really will help those core skills. So let's take a look at the first extract. This is an extract from a very old first language English paper. Please note this is not a video focusing on how to structure a response to the writer's effect question. It's more of a video to show you, I guess, the types of analytical comments you should be making. Think of my annotations as ideas. This is a really easy way to hone your analytical skills. Get a bunch of extracts from past papers and simply annotate. So the first step is, of course, reading the extract you are presented with and understanding what is going on. We need to be able to identify what situation the character is in, how they're feeling, what is going on. So let's take a read. All courage left him when the ship was gone. The sea stretched out endlessly. The thinly penciled line of the horizon was, he knew, only the limit of his sight. The sea that had once beckoned freedom and fortune now locked him in. He stayed by the shore, scanning the ocean. Whatever their fate, he now wanted to be with them. Without them, the island was a prison, and he was the mariner without a ship, a man without a voice. The day grew cold, the wind ruffled the water, and for a moment a rogue wave or cloud looked like a billowing sail. He did not leave the shore. He clambered over the stones to the western edge of the bay, wanting a wider view of the ocean, but he was trapped in the bay by sheer cliffs. Now, of course, this is an isolated extract from a longer piece of fiction, but hopefully you don't need too much context to sort of understand what is going on. Hopefully it's quite clear that there is this sense of the character being quite helpless. He's vulnerable. He's very much, or seems to be very much, imprisoned. He seems to be in this very dire situation without a ship. He's stranded, and we really do fear for his safety. Now, for the right to effect question, of course you are directed to 2 different paragraphs. For each of the extracts I am going to use in this video, I think I've highlighted 5 to 6. And as mentioned, I'm going to be showing you the type of comments you could make in order to analyze the writer's use of language. So let's have a look at some of my annotations. Okay, so the first image is of the sea stretching out endlessly. And I've put there in the left-hand corner, there's this real sense of the sea being infinite. He is helpless, he's vulnerable, he really is no match for his surroundings. Trying to get help seems almost futile. The second image, which I absolutely love, is the thinly penciled line of the horizon. It's only faintly visible. His hope is diminishing. There is nothing beyond the horizon, nothing to save him, that's supposed to say, or check your work, and time is running out. And the third image, the sea that had once freedom and fortune now locked him in. The sea seems to be likened to a prison of sorts here, and of course this contrasts with his initial romanticized view, where perhaps it, or at least he planned for it to bring him this freedom and financial rewards. However, it no longer is welcoming. There's this sense of entrapment. He's locked in. The natural world is threatening, it's dangerous, etc. The next image, of course, is the character being likened to a man without a voice. I've put here that it very much seems that he's lost his purpose. He's trying to get help. As mentioned, this seems to be completely futile. No one can hear his cries for help. The end seems very much imminent. And the final image is of the character being trapped in the bay by sheer cliffs. Okay, he's almost like a helpless caged animal. He's imprisoned. Maybe at this point, reality is dawning upon him. There really is no hope. Overall, the character is in a very bleak situation. He's helpless. He's vulnerable. Who knows what lies ahead for him? Now let's read the second extract, and by all means, if you want to have a go at any of these extracts, analysing any of the images, I welcome you to comment below. Let's have a purposeful discussion about all things to do with language analysis. Let's read the extract. We glided along for some time, accompanied by the sound of frogs that resonated like castanets in the distance, and the pneumatic buzzing of mosquitoes and other flying insects. I was being eaten alive and hadn't been told I'd need repellent. The dark expanse of open water ahead of us was a floating wilderness of submerged, tangled tree roots dotted with reeds and small shrubs sprouting above its surface. Jack continues scanning the murky waterline beneath the overhanging ferns before deciding to move on. We swept off into the darkness. Oh, Cambridge. Cambridge love these kind of texts where the natural world seems to become this sinister force, where the environment is oppressive and threatening. Clearly this is another text where the narrator is in this really precarious, dangerous situation. Again, we are worried for his safety. Very much seems to be a case of the wilderness wanting to capture him and almost warn him not to go any further. Does he listen? So let's take a look at some of the comments we could make for the highlighted images. So of course we have lots of auditory imagery in this short extract. We've got the frogs that resonated like castanets. Those really, I think, annoying instruments they used to make me play in primary school. We've got this repetitive clicking sound of the frogs filling the atmosphere, you know, these cacophonous sounds of the natural world, making it seem really uninviting and threatening. Then the auditory imagery is, of course, developed. We've got the pneumatic buzzing of mosquitoes and other flying insects. The sounds are very unpleasant, almost acting as a warning. There's this real palpable feeling of discomfort. These mosquitoes and I guess other insects are out to get him. And of course, it very much emphasizes the danger of the natural world. Then we've got this image of him being eaten alive. I guess very much a hyperbolic or exaggerated image. It's creating this foreboding atmosphere. There's this sinister side to the natural world. These mosquitoes, these insects, they are very much set on torturing him, making his journey as hellish as possible. And then we've got this image of the swamp being described as a dark expanse of open water. There's, of course, there seems to be these ubiquitous dangers, these unknown dangers, things lurking beneath. Again, it's emphasizing the narrator's vulnerability. He's helpless. The swamp very much seems ominous. Then you've got this image of the tangled tree roots beneath the swamp. There's this sense of the roots perhaps trying to trap him. They're not going to let him out alive. The natural world almost seems to be watching his every move. Again, it's a very threatening image. And of course, you've got that alliteration of the T. Tangled tree roots. It just sounds terribly uncomfortable and unpleasant when you say it. And lastly, you've got that brilliant image of the narrator being swept off into the darkness. He isn't in control. He's really no match for the chaotic natural world. He's very much entering dangerous territory and perhaps he may not come out alive. Is this a warning to him that he is going to be facing something far more powerful than perhaps he initially anticipated? So let's take a read of the final extract. Suddenly a teapot from which Robin had been pouring tea performed a rebellious leap and crashed landing next to Miss Roberts. All looked on horrified as tea pumped heavily out of its gaping mouth spout. Some splashes landing on her arm. She shrieked while Stan did the only thing he can think of and poured the remainder of his water bottle over her arm. Robin danced dejectedly around them, proffering paper towels and abject apologies, while Sumitra asked calmly if medical assistance was required. So enough of the doom and gloom. This is definitely at the opposite end of the spectrum. And did I mention that Cambridge loved choosing some rather wacky narratives as well? Gotta love them. Although that said, I find my students are able to handle the kind of darker extracts where they're a little bit more threatening and ominous, rather than these quite bizarre, humorous, sort of exaggerated texts. But hopefully from reading that short extract, you can see that the writer is trying to, I guess, convey this blunder of pouring the... What happens again?
Sorry, Robin pours the tea and he drops it or something, and the hot water goes over Miss Roberts. I wouldn't like to be Miss Roberts. I would be quite angry, I have to say. But yes, this blunder is conveyed in a very over-the-top manner. It is almost humorous. Maybe that's just me. And of course, there's this sense of crippling guilt that consumes Robin. So let's take a look at some of the annotations. Okay, so hopefully there's almost this sort of personification going on here, okay? The teapot performs this rebellious leap and crash lands next to Miss Roberts. A really sort of over-the-top, ridiculous image. There's this sense of the teapot almost disobeying Robin. This teapot wants to create a scene. It's very dramatic. Again, maybe it's slightly humorous. The sort of phrase crash landed as well is quite powerful. It falls with great force. There's this loud sound. It creates this immediate worry and shock. Then you've got this really hyperbolic image of the tea pumping. Notice that verb pumped coupled with that adverb heavily out of its gaping mouth spout. Very much an exaggerated image. Conveying this sort of tea gushing out, filling the area. It almost seems dangerous and maybe slightly humorous at the same time. Then you've got poor Robin. He doesn't know what to do. He dances in this sort of dejected way. He feels helpless. He's trying to make things better. His attempts are, I guess, are futile. Maybe he feels somewhat humiliated as well. Embarrassed maybe as well. And of course, he does his best. He's proffering paper towels. He's giving them out. He's offering his help. He's trying his best to fix this situation, fix his blunder, but his efforts are, I guess, slightly hopeless. I guess what I love about this extract is, I mentioned at the beginning of the video, language has the power to take us on a journey, to help us visualize these really sort of vivid scenes. I can really picture this sort of chaotic scene, and that is achieved through the language. And that's the last extract. I hope this video has been useful. I really do recommend getting a bunch of past papers together and just practicing your sort of annotation skills. It really will help immeasurably when it comes to those sort of language analysis focused questions.
And I hope today's mini lesson was useful. As always, I do invite you to leave feedback below, and I will see you again very soon. Until next time, bye-bye.